I wedged my microphone inside my steering wheel.
Okay, I like it. That's actually really
Get you one of these.
Anywhere.
Except my monitor's in the way, so it really can't go anywhere.
Yeah, I could get one of those, or I could use my $700. I have a $700 mic boom, so.
Why do you have that?
Because it's a steering wheel.
I do have the full boom microphone set up with the giant fuzzy pop filter for that kind of microphone, and I could just use that.
Just overproduce the hell out of what we're doing. That'd be awesome. With it.
I mean, it would be better than what we do right now.
You're out. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna take a selfie from the There we
I mean,
go.
folks maybe clicking on this video for the first time, or maybe they're listening to this for the first time. They're gonna be like, "Wow, that's not a very wise decision to talk about how these people don't do any editing on their stuff." And I'm just sitting here well, let me introduce you to JCN.
Well, we have good we have good content is the difference. So.
We focus on the content, not the quality of the content.
Yeah, the content. Well, the quality of the content is good. The production value,
the quality of the content.
We're like a band that has a best songwriters ever, but we recorded out of our friend's garage.
Yeah,
basically on one MacBook.
All I'm saying is, some random podcast studio wants to actually produce this, call me, because that would take a lot off my plate.
The plate. I can't believe it. We're 2 races into the season, boys.
We're 2 races into the season. I think people already want us to pick a champion and stuff, which is hilarious.
That's not going to happen.
Oh, no.
That's not going to happen.
Who do you think is going to win the championship after 2 races? I think it's going to be Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
It's going to be... Damn it.
Gotcha.
Austin Cindric.
Oh.
Also, Davey, you're kind of quiet, so...
Oh, no. Okay, my bad.
Didn't you used to have a stand?
Yeah, he broke it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
It broke. It big time broke.
I think my plan is, once one of these that I have goes on sale, I'm just going to buy it for Davey and just have it show up to his house in unmarked packaging.
So with this one, it has a clamp that goes on the back of my desk, but it has a cable hanger built into it.
Okay.
And so the only way I can take the clamp for this on and off is if I take my desk apart. So my old one was just kind of wedged in there, and then when I replaced my desk with the same model, I put that on before I finished building the desk, and I was like, all right, we're good now. So
anyway, I think we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
Auto Club happened, came and went.
It did.
Sad times.
The sun has set on Auto Club,
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna rise again. That's how the Earth works. But
we don't know that. Nothing in life.
Is there a lot of speculation about the fact that it might go away forever?
Yeah, because let's talk about that first, because I guess that chronologically was the first thing that came out this weekend. But I think it was Friday. Adam Stern decided to do one of his little patented Stern bombs or whatever about the Auto Club sale, and talked about how NASCAR got $500 million or something, which
it was 550 or something,
which is 5 times what they paid for Auto Club and all of the Penske tracks, I'm pretty sure, when they bought them, because they bought Auto Club, Michigan, Nazareth, Rockingham, and there's one more in there that I'm forgetting. Maybe not. Maybe it's only those 4.
It was one of those things where everybody was like, why are they tearing down Auto Club? And then that came out, and we're like, oh. That's why.
I was like, I don't blame them.
Because LA offered them $500 million for the land. And
and it's not even all the land. That's the crazy part, right? They still have, I think, 80 or 90 acres of the land.
Yeah, they basically offered that they bought a donut of land.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is funny.
So supposedly the plan is that they'll lease the land back for parking, which I don't know why you'd buy land to make a parking lot, although the Illiches did that in downtown Detroit, so whatever. hey, it's just glad we have that little Caesars Arena, man. Glad we have it in all of its parking structures. It's great. Not the affordable housing they promised to build. Love the Illiches, but man, oh man. Okay. Anyways, that's
JTN Politics podcast.
In case you can't tell, the Red Wings, I believe, are losing right now.
No,
so
they're actually they scored right before we started recording. Okay. So I was like, okay, we can start recording. I'll be happy.
Joe's in a good mood.
I'm in a good mood for now. But yeah, so that land is still valuable that they still have, and it's going to cost a lot to build a racetrack. There's also the rumblings that part of this is they're trying to recoup what they paid for the Phoenix renovations, for the Daytona renovations. I don't know. I don't see how. First of all, obviously they're not racing there next year no matter what, right? Yeah. They're not racing in Fontana. Are they racing in Southern California? Sounds like they want to. Doesn't sound like they know where yet, but that's okay, I guess. Don't know why you'd make an exit plan without a plan to exit.
Yeah, it's one of those short-sighted things that NASCAR does. Yeah. This is like some like classic quintessential like early 2010s NASCAR decision making right now. This is pretty good.
So I would agree with you if the pandemic didn't happen, but that really shook up a lot of this. Which is a dumb excuse that everyone uses. And Davey, you are completely valid in what you're saying, but I'm still going to give him a little bit of leeway.
I also was kind of joking. Like, I know that there's reasons for it.
Yeah. But they're not great reasons.
They're not, they are.
Let's think about it. They're not great. They're reasons, right? There's reasons, there's good reasons, there's great reasons, and then there's just reasons. And not good reasons. I don't really see, right? Like, I think we've all talked about it. Like, one of the best tracks on the schedule, right? Like, great racing, laundry list of things that you could say, okay, we shouldn't do this. Money's going to win, and money won, as it does.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, too, is you think about how much it was going to be to repave that place, because it's going to need one eventually.
Yeah.
Or the city of LA can pay you $500 million, and you're like, okay, cool. So
it's not the city buying the land,
or not city, whatever the developers are.
It's the Hillwood that they have deals with that are probably that bought a lot of the land around Kansas Speedway. That we're supposedly buying a lot of the land that Chicagoland is still on. That are probably going to buy a lot of the land that's available around Michigan, because there's a lot of land around that track. I'm pretty sure they bought a lot of that land where you have all the Daytona Rising stuff down at Daytona, and then they're the ones that developed it.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously the casino, I think, is their first big thing, which was the casino off of Turn 2 in Kansas.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
But either way, it's basically just paid for itself now. If the short track reconfigurement ever actually happens.
And to play devil's advocate a little bit, like, do we really think Auto Club survives a repave? It's
no,
it's neither here nor there. I don't think it would. I think the racing would suffer too much.
And I think that's the reason.
The other thing too.
Like, that was if you want to talk about it from a pure racing reason, that why you'd do this. Well, okay, track's gonna suck for at least 10 years.
Yep.
Most likely. Yep. You never know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's kind of like, it's kind of like the same conundrum that happened with Atlanta, more or less. You know what I mean? Like, Atlanta needed a repave. It needed one, and so to try and skirt around the track, sucking for too bad, sucking for too long, probably for too long. Sorry, excuse me. They did what they did, and is it an unpopular decision? It was. It very much is. I still don't love it. And it sucks, just like the Auto Club stuff. But, does it survive that repave if it were just left the same? Who knows? Probably not. The racing would probably suffer for a really long time.
At least it's not Texas or Kentucky.
Yeah.
Good, great heavens almighty. I don't even want to talk about Texas right now. I'm gonna talk about Texas when we get to Texas. I just
thank God that's not till September.
I just want Texas to be in its own little slice of the year, so I can just talk about how much I hate it then, and then I'll be good.
Thankfully, it is.
Don't talk about it for 35 other race weekends. and we're good.
But yeah, I mean, financially, it made sense to sell all that land. It sucks that they're not going to be there next year. Obviously, they'll do a points race at the Coliseum, which I just don't see a lot of the teams wanting to do.
No,
no way. I don't see it.
I think NASCAR's in this weird spot where they need to try to get favor with the race teams because the race teams are, upset about a lot of things.
Yeah.
Well,
and that's part of why, another one of the reasons why I don't think the Clash of the Coliseum would be a good points race is part of it is kind of the not the spectacle, but how much they make it into an event. Like, it's already ridiculous that we have the Coke 600 halftime break, but it's like, okay, whatever, it is what it is.
Oof.
You can't have a mid-race concert in a points race. You just can't do that.
Yeah,
that's just way too gimmicky.
Oh.
At that point, you have officially jumped the shark. So.
Now, I would like... It sucks that it still wouldn't be a points race, but could I see like an all-star event moving there? Maybe. I know North Wilkesboro is probably like where they want to go, but
I think you got to keeping the all-star race, and I'm hoping this North Wilkesboro thing it works wonderfully. But a lot of people talk about like taking the all-star race to like some smaller venues, where you could bring in some, temporary seating. You could do all these different little things, help these tracks get up to snuff with their safety, hopefully.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just it's so sad. Auto Club's a good track.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest bummer about it is it's such a good track that was in this situation. Why couldn't it have been Texas?
Because the land isn't as valuable.
Yep.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah, that's probably exactly what it is.
But
I think they threw a good farewell weekend to the layout of the track. It was a great weekend of racing. Besides the rain.
Despite the rain and the snow, it was a great weekend. Let's go ahead and start with the first race of the weekend, which we always start with this race, even though it's usually the last race. But this week it was the first race, Cup Series race.
We're doing it in chronological order, but we didn't change anything.
Cup Series race, obviously. Headline is Kyle Busch winning first race that he's won with RCR. Obviously, this is I think he finished second in the Clash or third in the Clash. He was gonna finish top 5 at least in the 500, and then
500 things happen
at the end.
That was the thing I was thinking about after this race. Is like you said, second at the Clash, leading his duel until he wrecked. Was leading the Daytona 500 with 3 to go, and then a late caution, and then all of it went to hell, and then he wins this. Like, that's an insane start. Like, I thought Kyle Busch and RCR were going to click, but I didn't think it was going to be like that immediately.
I really thought they would have a Tyler Reddick-esque season. Like, speed, few wins, but like not what I would consider like a major contender. Proved wrong immediately out of the gate. Honestly, it's the same kind of thing that happened with Ross Chastain last year. I just they're just blowing me away. Like, I had the level of expectations that I had for that team greatly underestimated how well they're performing right now. It's honestly insane.
Chase Elliott made some like snarky remarks about you shouldn't have been surprised. I don't think anyone's surprised that he won. I think they're surprised how quick he won.
Yeah.
But I don't even know if that's valid because that 8 car, it's the same crew that Reddick had last year. Right? Same crew, everything. Top to bottom. Only thing you substituted out, you took Tyler Reddick, who's a fantastic race car driver. And you somehow upgraded that with Kyle Busch. And that's why I think it's paid off. It was a mechanical thing for Reddick last year, or in this race, or whatever it was. I think he had a flat tire, got into the wall, bent something, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But Kyle Busch doesn't make the same mistakes that Tyler Reddick makes because Tyler Reddick is younger, less experienced, but also comes from a different racing background.
Yeah.
So, this team probably could have won 5 races last year. With Kyle Busch, they probably will win 5 races this year.
They had, off the top of my head, I can think of like 4 or 5 times they had mechanical issues while they were leading.
Yeah. They won Texas. I know that, again, we don't want to talk about Texas, but they won Texas last year.
Texas is gonna be like it's just gonna keep coming up in this show, but
unfortunately, yeah. I at least expected though there would be a kind of getting to know you phase with Kyle Busch and RCR.
Yeah.
But then I kind of realized like 5 seconds ago that how many crew chiefs has Kyle Busch gone through in his career? Like he's never had problems adapting to new crew chiefs. So
that's a good point.
I don't know why I was expecting that.
Another thing that I think's worthy of being brought up with all of this, obviously last week they did a really good piece with Kyle. Tom Rinaldi did a sit-down interview with Kyle Busch as part of the pre-race for the 500, and a lot of the talk about him not wanting to take Joe Gibbs's money, and people are like, that's weird, you're weird for doing that, take the money, doesn't matter, it's whatever. Not that argument. Denny Hamlin talked about today on his podcast, Dirty Mo Media Podcast, great racing podcast, man.
I forgot my AirPods at work. I didn't get to listen to it yet. Don't spoil it.
Oh, I can't. Can I talk? I can't talk about
this.
This is pretty important for this.
You can talk. You can talk about it. I'm just joking.
He specifically started talking about this. How Kyle was offered a lot more money to continue at Joe Gibbs Racing and turned it down because it wasn't the amount of money that Kyle was requesting, and how if Kyle did get what he wanted from JGR, team wouldn't have been able to survive. It would have went bankrupt. Blah 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 blah. All these reasons, and they're completely valid reasons why Kyle couldn't get paid what Kyle wanted to get paid.
Mm-hmm.
I think what's getting lost in the shuffle of all of this is the fact that what I want to be paid at one company might be different than what I'm okay with being paid at another company. And sure, I'm sure the opportunities and the options, they started drying out for Kyle. I'm sure that happened, right? I mean, SHR at one point, Eric Almirola was going to be gone, so that ride probably got floated to him. You have to obviously JGR made a play. I'm sure somewhere else along the line, someone else made a play for him. But was Kyle Busch happy at Joe Gibbs Racing? And everyone says, well, that's a crazy question to ask. Why would we ask that? It's best one of the top 2-3 teams on the grid every week. It's blah blah blah. All these reasons for why he should be happy. But we've seen Toyota and their development system get weird at times, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe there's some uneasiness with that. Maybe it just, sometimes things grow stale. Sometimes you want a new challenge. And sometimes you just don't like the people that are around you anymore. And that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like that just gets lost in this whole Kyle Busch saga that we saw play out in the last year.
Yeah.
And it needs to be talked about more. And again, it doesn't mean that Kyle Busch hates Joe Gibbs and hates JGR and hated his crew and his crew chief and blah, and hated all these people, because it's very obvious he didn't.
Hmm.
But part of being a human being is continuing to grow yourself and realize that maybe these aren't the people that I need to be around in this part of my life. And that could have contributed to why he wanted X amount of dollars here and was okay with taking Y amount of dollars there.
Yeah.
Just food for thought.
I like what you're saying about it getting stale, because that's kind of what I've thought too, is that when you look at the last 3 years, Kyle hasn't been the same Kyle Busch also.
Yeah.
Like I think it's 1 win a year for the last 3 years. I mean, last year basically lucked into the dirt race, or the Bristol dirt race. But you can also look at it too, is that if you're Kyle Busch, I hate to have to use this word, very alpha personality, right? And if you compare it to Joe Gibbs Racing, how they're set up, Denny Hamlin's the same way, Martin Truex is the same way, and Ty Gibbs is going to draw a lot of the attention, not to mention all of the guys they have driving for them in Xfinity. You go over to RCR, guess what? He's top dog. It's him and Austin Dillon, and he and Austin Dillon have a very symbiotic relationship, it already seems like. So
that was kind of another thing that I wanted to point out too, is like, we don't know what was in those contracts. We don't know. I mean, there could be bonus incentives, blah, blah, as far as the money thing goes, but also like the power that he has with his race team. Like what say does he have? What is like, we don't know what's written into those contracts and what makes being paid less worth it. Only Kyle and only Kyle and Richard know that.
Yeah.
And people, as far as like, things getting stale, I 100% agree. People lose sight of the fact that like sports teams and athletes, like, you're showing up to work. You're going to work. If you go to work, if you show up to your office job and you're not happy every day, you're going to want to leave. I mean, there's culture. Every team has a different culture. I mean, you can kind of understand what the culture at JGR is. You understand what the culture at RCR. You know, it could be any number of things like under that delineation that kind of like explains why Kyle wanted to move. A lot of people always say like RCR is like a racer shop. That's a racer's team. Kyle Busch, believe it or not, guys, is a racer. I don't know if y'all know that. I don't know if y'all know, like, as far as like mentality wise, not just like he drives race cars, but like mentality wise, like he is a racer. RCR is a team of people who want to go racing, just like I always say, Junior Motorsports is. Whereas Joe Gibbs maybe treats itself more like a sports team. You know, you see that kind of influence on Denny Hamlin, you know, potentially Ty Gibbs, like that kind of thing going on. It's no different than going to work and wanting your culture to be the way you want it to be, and if it's not, you find something else. It's no different. I think people lose sight of that.
Yeah, I know we're only 2 races into it, but you know what this reminds me a lot of, Joe? It reminds me of Tom Brady leaving the Patriots.
Does it really?
Because, well, I mean, there's some because you look at how buttoned up. Sorry to lose you here for a little bit, Davey. But you look at how buttoned up and how tight everything with the Patriots was, right? And Brady had his last couple of years. Everybody thought he wasn't doing too hot, and you could look at all the success he and Belichick had together, and he needed a new, surroundings. The Patriots offered him a lot of money, but the Buccaneers offered him a whole lot more. And then he went down to Tampa and kind of cut loose like we're seeing Kyle doing. And Tom Brady looked better in like 2 of his last 3 years than he did the couple years before that.
I want to go back to the culture thing too. That's a really good point. And it feeds into that culture because, you know, Davey, you brought up the point that Joe Gibbs racing it at least outside, right? Yeah. It's obviously all outside looking in thing. This isn't an inside looking out. More buttoned up, more like a sports franchise, sports team, whatever. For Kyle Busch, that was probably the best thing for him when he joined JGR in 2008.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
He outgrew it.
And now he's got a family. He's got a successful truck team. Now it's like, okay, now I need to find a place that more aligns with that aspect of my life. Or wants something that aligns with that aspect of his life. You know, people joked about the whole Brexton Busch thing with Richard Childress at his press conference and all that, but that's still something. You know what I mean? Like, Richard Childress Racing is a family operation. You know, we all know people that work there, and we've heard the stories about how that's a family deal there more than a lot of other teams. You know, they're located a lot further away from all the other race teams. They're in their own little area and just all of those things. So I, again, just can't lose sight of the fact that, you know, maybe Kyle just wanted to change, and that's okay. You know, but also it's fun to laugh at Joe Gibbs Racing because they had a lot of success. That's natural, right? We don't want to see the same team on top of the podium every week. No one wants that unless you're a fan of that team. At that point, come on, have some fun. Let someone else have some fun sometimes. But yeah, I think it's okay that Kyle wanted to change his scenery. Like, it's okay if that's the reason this happened.
And honestly, and for Joe Gibbs' sake, that's probably the easiest solution. You know, because now he doesn't have to find that sponsorship. Ty Gibbs can slide right into his ride, and it, you know, I more than likely believe we've said some things about Joe Gibbs. I don't think Joe Gibbs is a bad person, obviously, but like, you know, you look at the way everything kind of fell apart at the end, and eventually it seems like the negotiations with Kyle Busch came down to this is a business transaction. The easiest way to do this is Ty Gibbs is going to cost a lot less money. It's probably going to be really good in the next 5 years. You know, Kyle might not even be around for 5 more years. And Ty Gibbs also has a sponsor that's paying for all of it. Kyle doesn't have that. Which one do you take?
Yeah.
So, it is what it is.
Anything else? We cover it all?
Damn, we really drew out the Kyle Busch conversation.
I think it's something that's important, though, with the way kind of that's been a focal point of a lot of the pre-race coverage, week in, week out, all the storylines outside of the races themselves. And I think it's warranted just because Kyle's been so successful here to start the year.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Kyle Larson had electrical issues. I have that on our sheet. That doesn't really matter.
Killed my fantasy team.
No kidding.
Kill a lot of people's fantasy teams.
Although I had Tyler Reddick there too, and let's talk about this because restarts. Remember when they talked about expanding the restart zone?
What a shambles.
So, Joey Logano, I wrote Joey Logano caused the big one. I guess supposedly he went and people just tried to go before him. How many times in sim racing have we told people, hey, don't go until the car in front of you goes? But guess that doesn't matter anymore. Yeah. But, you know, some quick cars. Ryan Blaney's the biggest one of them because he was top 5 speed. He got involved. Eric Almirola, Ryan Preece, Tyler Reddick, a bunch of others. Yeah. But this really a product of that extended restart zone.
Yep. I don't know why would you extend the restart? I don't really understand.
Give the leader more of an advantage because it gives them a wider range that they can be the first to go.
Who cares?
Yeah.
They're the leader and they can pick when to go. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's silly. I don't know if this is like that much of a talking point. I think it's just like, you know, guys have been doing something for 10 years and then Joey Logano is like, all right, I'm just going to wait longer then. So that's what it is. He didn't do anything out of the rules.
No.
Yeah.
But you still got to assign blame, you know?
And anytime we can blame Joey Logano,
Joe
Kowalski's going to get there.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not the one. They said it on the broadcast. This isn't a me thing for once. This isn't me bringing up the 2021 Daytona 500, okay?
You just did.
Well, now I did. Darn it. Trackhouse still seems like they're for real this year. Ross Chastain.
Yeah, they were looking pacey.
Ross Chastain sweeps the stages. Suarez was up front. You know,
happy to see it.
Last year definitely wasn't a fluke so far.
Good to see.
Yeah.
So yeah. Some other strong you guys are really stealing my thunder here. Some really strong runs from Corey LaJoie, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. I think part of that was starting up front. Kind of allows you to, you know, clean air is still a thing with this car. I don't care what people say. Clean air is always going to be a thing. Bristol, what are you doing back there?
Just lounging.
He was licking the bed. Like, dude.
Unprofessional.
That's what I'm saying. And he's laying there. He's just letting it all loose right now. Like, brother. Actually. Over
yeah,
here.
I was gonna say the thing with Corey too. It wasn't like a fluke too, because I mean he had a couple incidents. One that was his fault. One that, you know, just him being caught in the wrong place at the wrong time, and then one where he got spun out and then he drove all the way back up into the top 15 after that.
Yeah,
so
it was weird how quick he could work his way back up. He did it every time.
He had a really good car.
Unbelievable.
I loved too because he spun out Brad early in the race, and then he went and talked to him, and you could see Brad was just laughing about it because they both recovered. So I was like, oh, we're not gonna see Ho's mad. So
oh man, so sad. Yeah, impressed by the speed that the 7 had, right? Maybe
not impressed by the speed the 77 had.
Well, that team last year was already much worse than the 7, so
yeah,
not surprising.
It's apparent.
It's apparent which car is the better car there at Spire Motorsports. But hey, one of them has
Evans.
You got 2 different drivers in those cars too, from 2 different backgrounds. One likes to stack pennies. One supposedly likes to stack silver spoons. You know, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Ty Dillon's so forgettable. We didn't even mention him being the first guy that got spun out in that race.
Oh my gosh.
I genuinely forgot.
I didn't even realize he blew up in the 500.
I don't think anyone did, to be fair.
Do I remember that? I don't know if I do.
I remember, I don't even think Fox mentioned it. They were just like, yeah, the 77's retired. And I'm like, okay.
The Spire 77 car has so much of, fine energy to it.
I'm just sitting here like, man, that was Eric Jones's rookie number. I'm just sitting here like...
That car makes laps out of spite.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Purely out of obligation.
RFK also, if we want to talk about strong runs, I think they both ended up finishing top 15. Buscher was up inside the top 10 for a lot of the race. Kozlowski, as you said, after the spin early, rebounded to get a top 10 finish, lapped down through a couple of those cautions. It was a caution-filled race.
Oh, yeah.
But RFK had a couple of strong runs, which is good to see because that team really needed something good here to start the year. Because, man, they were off last year, and they already seem like they're in a better place than they were 1 year ago.
I was going to say, why are we even bringing up RFK? And then I remembered that they were, like, useless the first couple of weeks of the season.
Yeah. Missed the Clash final and wasn't even close to it. Yeah.
Only Brad wrecked half the field in the 500 last year.
Yeah.
They didn't really even start coming to play till Dover when Buescher randomly won the pole.
Yeah.
Like, because he's just really good there.
They definitely look like they've got top 20 speed at least, though. So,
yeah.
Which
definitely making improvements.
Hey, improving. That's the name of the game. You just want to improve just a little bit every day. Just a little bit every day.
Not going to be very fast in the All-Star race, but by God, they're going to do great on the intermediates.
New Hampshire, don't even go. They ain't going to show up.
Don't even go.
Just start part.
Martinsville.
Save the motors.
Martinsville.
What's the week after New Hampshire? Just go there.
Yeah.
Go there.
Martinsville, you know what? Brad had a top 10 car last year, but guess what? It was illegal. So guess what? They still ain't good there. Flat tracks, throw them out. Yeah. We ain't good. Or Phoenix in 2 weeks? Nuh-uh. Ain't happening.
Oh, heavens to Betsy.
So I think that's honestly where that team's going to probably struggle. Although Auto Club, one of the flatter tracks. So, hey, something to look forward to. And then obviously that Kyle Busch and Ross Chastain battle, it was just something fun to watch. I don't know if you guys want to talk any more about that. We've talked a while about this Auto Club race, especially with that Kyle Busch thing at the start. Anything else that kind of comes to mind from that race?
I thought I had something, but I can't remember. Can we talk about that weird moment when H.A. Allmendinger spun on the broadcast?
Okay, let's talk about Fox's broadcasting.
That was bizarre.
This is wonderful because I didn't want to bring it up, but man, Clint Boyer is weird.
He sucks.
Well, I got to say also, great tweet by Nick Bromberg. Don't read the replies to it because it's all people saying like, your opinion sucks. If you hate the broadcast, go to the race. He didn't even express an opinion. He just pointed something out. Yeah. But like the broadcast is happening and then Clint Boyer goes, oh, caution. And then it cuts to the start of a crash and they're calling AJ Allmendinger wrecking before he's been turned and then he gets wrecked. And it's like, are they like tape delaying this? Like what's happening right now?
Clint Boyer's like, it's AJ Allmendinger.
Yeah, like no enthusiasm. And then
Yeah.
Reading a lot of people talking about it, they were saying that the footage of that wreck happening was a good 10 to 15 seconds behind when it actually happened compared to the rest of the broadcast.
So that's why it felt really weird because they cut to it without a transition. So they just like hard cut to a replay, which they never do, except for this one instance, and it made Clint look like an idiot.
Yeah.
And I felt so bad in the moment for him once I figured it out because I didn't figure it out at first. I'm like, wait a minute, how are you calling this wreck before?
It was so weird, yeah.
There was also a moment where they were 4 wide coming off of turn 2 and they decided to cut to Kyle Busch and someone 2 wide going down into 3, which was hilarious. and you just heard the disappointment in Clint's voice.
My favorite one. I will say, I don't love Clint Boyer in the booth, but he's not being done any favors by the broadcast direction.
No.
There was one where they're coming off pit road and they're like, let's see where these guys blend. Mike Joy's like, let's see where these guys blend in here. This is going to get real good. And then the camera stops panning down and it moves back up. And they're like, oh, there's Chase Elliott on pit road. I was like, are you kidding me? Are you serious?
Did you guys ever see the clip? I think we talked about this. It was from the Drivers Only broadcast at Charlotte last year where you can hear Kevin Harvick off in the distance yelling at the producer to show what they're talking about.
Have you ever seen that?
Oh, I'll have to dig this up afterwards. It's great. Because like Blaney and whoever's in the booth are like still trying to keep their composure. And you can hear Harvick. He's like, show the battle. Like you can hear him like on the other side of the room away from his microphone. It's so awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man, Fox Sports, they're really wasting Mike Joy's last couple of years broadcasting, aren't they?
Yeah, he's sounded checked out.
He is in Al. I saw someone posted in one of the Discords that he's in Al Michaels mode, and
yeah,
I'm about ready to agree with that because
it's so frustrating too because it's like. You can tell and I want to kind of shift this. We'll kind of move to the Xfinity the Xfinity race after this, but I kind of want to shift like to a comparison between the Cup and Xfinity broadcasts, where you can tell the Cup Series guys, you can tell Tony and Clint and Mike, they want to make it Like they want to make it feel like the Cup Series. They want to make it feel like the top tier series of stock car racing in America. They're there to do that job, and they're like, they're like that is their job. And it falls so flat because they get let down by the broadcast direction constantly.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then it's so funny to go and listen to the Xfinity Series broadcast because Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano don't care. And so like
and they're
something
laughing,
happens,
they're
yeah, like they'll cut away from the like the action, and Ryan Blaney or Joey Logano's like, oh well, I mean, well, let's look at this then, I guess. And they'll just say that like out loud.
Dude, their energy is so infectious. I was having so much fun listening to that. There was a moment late in the Xfinity race last night where they both just started laughing, and they were talking about something that happened where like I think it was Anthony Alfredo passed somebody, or no, it was Chandler Smith passed somebody in the wave, like, oh, thanks for letting me by. And the other guy's like, oh, I'm not done yet. And then they kept battling.
Yeah, Parker Kligerman passed Chandler Smith and gave him the peace sign, and Chandler Smith undercut him like as soon as he did it. And they were like laughing about it. And that's like stuff only the drivers would see, right? I love it. But it's so funny, the tonal shift from the Cup Series broadcast to the Xfinity broadcast. Because you can tell the dudes in the Cup Series, they want to do a good job, and the guys in the Xfinity Series broadcast are Cup drivers, so they're just like having fun.
So I think this is part of Fox's problem with the way they've presented the sport the last couple of years, where we've talked about it, the hokiness, the laid backness, the stupid, look at, we're NASCAR segments that they like to do. Right?
Yeah.
So now when they're, you got guys like Mike Joy, Clint Boyer, and Clint Boyer's Clint Boyer, man, he's still better than Jeff Gordon. So you know what? A for that. They're like you said, they're trying to take it. It seems like in the way that they're discussing it, they're trying to take it in a more, serious direction, for lack of a better way to describe it. Not that they ever took it unseriously, but in a more, European motorsports broadcast direction. And like you said, they get let down by producers just not seeming to be on the same page. They're cutting to things that they're not talking about. And then, whenever you cut a camera like that and you cut to something and person A is still talking about the last thing you were showing, that's a problem, because guess what? That means you weren't on the same page when you made that cut. And it's different when it's a big wreck, right? It's different if it's a caution. But I don't need to be cutting to Kyle Busch driving around the high line when Mike Joy and Clint Boyer and Tony Stewart are talking about how Ross Chastain is running the low line right now, and you can see that car starting to step out a little bit and blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't need that. I don't need that, right? Like, so like the most frustrating thing for me with broadcasting the way we have to do our online broadcasts, right? I can't have whoever's broadcasting with me, since we're doing it on computers, we're doing it online. I can't have whoever's broadcasting with me. Most likely, I can't have them looking at the same screen as me, because I also need them because they're also my second spotter on track for things happening. So you'll see times where like Ricky's the one that's, the most, one that does this the most, but he'll be talking about something that I have no idea where it is, and I'll be scrambling to find it, right? Because part of when you do a television versus like a radio is you have to be showing people what you're talking about. And this past weekend, we have so many examples of Fox letting us down on that. They let their broadcast team down on that. Also, shout out to Mike Joy for being really sassy with the way he was talking about commercials during the broadcast. I really liked that, and it was awesome, especially when he's like, all right, yep, we got one more side-by-side before the end of this race, unless we get a caution, guys. Ha-ha!
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But something like that, even, like, I don't know. I don't know how you guys feel about that, because, again, we talked about commercials way too much last week as a whole. But I'm okay with a broadcaster saying, all right, we're going to step away one more time before the end of this race, bring you the rest of the race flag to flag with limited interruptions or something. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So it's, I don't know. I thought it was fun. I had fun with the commentary. I feel like this week it was the video that let him down more than anything. And I also saw people talking about Clint Boyer's energy in the booth, and they pointed out that A.J. Allmendinger clip. And again, I think it was more of a fact of the producers letting him down more than him letting the energy in the booth down.
Because he was basically reacting to something 15 seconds after it already happened.
Yeah.
And it was like, I don't know if you're going to get the most genuine reaction out of that.
Which, if you hear him react to cautions when they're showing replays of them, he is in that same tone.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the giveaway. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to dominate that at the end.
No, that's fine.
You guys, I wish we were like in a studio, because then one of you could like kick me under the table, be like, "Shut up, Joe," you know?
No, I just play footsies with you.
Do you want to hear a fun story?
What? Huh?
You want to hear a fun story about footsies?
How is that?
About footsies.
I know. It was the next thing you said after I said footsie. Sure, let's hear it. I'm just so surprised that you have a story.
So in third grade, we had like indoor. Dude, my memory's great.
This is whiplash.
We had like indoor recess or something. Or we had just gotten back from lunch and we were in the classroom and I was sitting next to this kid and we were just like kicking each other underneath the desk. Teacher walks in, yells at both of us, sends us into the hall. We were in the hall for 2 hours for playing footsies. Teacher literally forgot about us because then they were walking to a play that was like in the auditorium that like the whole school was going to see. And the teacher's like,
God.
"Oh, yeah, you guys are out here. All right." And then just walked away.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
One time I got in trouble because I burped too loud.
I got yelled at for saying don't do drugs to kids once at school. That was the thing that happened.
I said excuse me and everything, and I got taken out of the room and sent to timeout.
Oh my God.
I was so mad. I also, one time, I was taking a swig of water and one of my friends made me laugh and I spit it out everywhere and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." I was like, "I'm just laughing." And I got in trouble for that too. Got taken to timeout.
Teachers suck.
I'm trying to think of a time. I know there's times where I got in trouble for just like absolute butt-ass reasons, but I can't remember why.
It's so butt-ass.
Yeah.
Yep. NASCAR Xfinity Series race. John Hunter Nemechek won. The vibes of this race were good.
Very much.
Oh, yeah.
Very good. Very aesthetically pleasing. Beautiful.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Auto Club at night's very pretty.
It was a good sunset on the racetrack, right? Like, just. I don't really know if I have much more.
Yeah.
I was broadcasting during this race. I know Cole Custer won both stages and wrecked, so that's cool, I guess.
Cole Custer he had a flat tire, and that was how Austin Dillon got his damage, which was frustrating. Cole Custer was definitely class of the field, probably had the fastest car. There was that fun little moment where Josh Berry cleared the hell out of himself. Or
on Tyler Reddick. Yeah.
That was unbelievable. That was really funny. It was just a very pleasing race to watch. I mean, there really wasn't too much like Sports Center-esque clips. It was just a good race. Sam Mayer turned on the heat at the end. I really thought he was going to have something for John Hunter. He closed down like 4 or 5 tenths and had a big slide with about 2 to go.
Sheldon Creed had that crazy ass save early on too.
Smushed his back end, but it was a good save.
Yeah, threw an absolutely ridiculous block on Josh Berry and then somehow didn't clobber the inside wall.
Yeah.
It was a good race.
That was a cool moment. That was probably a highlight moment.
Yeah.
Everyone thought he was going to slam that. Like the booth reaction was unbelievable.
Oh yeah.
Like, Joey and Ryan are like losing their minds. Adam Alexander's just probably cheesing because that's what he does.
Adam Alexander is really smiley, isn't he?
I love the Fox booth when it's like 2 drivers and Adam Alexander. I don't know why. I just think it rocks. I think it's fun.
You don't like it when it's 2 former drivers though, and Mike Joy.
No, I don't.
That's fair.
Tony's pretty good. The thing is, I just feel like the Tony. I don't know. I feel like the Tony, Mike Joy, Clint Boyer energy doesn't mesh.
Yeah.
There's a missing link somewhere, and
I thought they did really good because they had Larry Mack sub for Clint at Sonoma last year for their last race, and I thought that was really good.
I've been saying it.
I think it's the dynamic of Clint Boyer with Tony Stewart because Tony was obviously Clint's boss.
Yeah.
So I think that it might have something to do with that. Like, you can say you're friends and stuff, but at the end of the day, that person was still your boss at one point.
Yeah, it's still a little... I think it's a little too formal.
Yeah.
and they try to like buddy guy dude McBro stains like in the booth, but they're just. I mean,
we really went right back to the Fox booth thing, didn't we?
Well, I mean,
it was natural. It was natural, but
I mean, it's something that I thought like it's really hard. I don't know about you guys. It's really hard not to notice how awkward it gets sometimes. And of course, some of that does come back to the race, the broadcast direction being so bad, and them having to, bounce back from it. Like I get that, but I don't know. Every time I think about it, it just feels weird. It's a little awkward, a little awky. Yeah.
Xfinity race was really good. Sorry we don't have more to talk about. Go watch it. Not that you can on the Fox Sports app, because I tried to find a replay of it today, and guess what? You can't access it till 3 a.m. this morning. I'm not staying up till then.
Cool race, though.
It's so dumb. It's so dumb. Listen, it's so dumb that NASCAR can't just put these race replays up the next day. They have to wait like 2 days.
Listen, I don't know what to tell you.
Like, what about...
I don't know.
Like, what about, like, little Bobby? Little Bobby Hill. He wants to go watch his NASCAR after a hard day's work at the factory, right? But he can't because there's no replay of it.
I'm not going back to the mill. I'm watching the race.
Are we bringing the mill to this podcast, too?
Wait. Okay, I don't know that one. So
someone tagged Dinner with Racers.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
TLDR, that movie 3, the unofficial like biopic about Dale Earnhardt has a recurring
How is
theme
it
about...
unofficial?
Because the Earnhardt family had nothing to do with it, basically. ESPN
Chad
made
McCumbee.
it. It was like Teresa and Richard Childress came together and helped produce Dale, which is the really good documentary about Dale Earnhardt. Highly recommend it. Narrated by Paul Newman, one of my favorite movies. And then ESPN's like, let us get in on that, and they completely changed the way Ralph Earnhardt dies in that movie. And there's a recurring theme about how Dale, he's not going back to the mill. He's gonna make it as a race car driver. So, and Chad McCumbee plays Junior.
Great lines such as the introduction of Neil Bonnet, where Neil Bonnet goes, "My name's Bonnet, Neil Bonnet."
That's how people introduce themselves.
It's so bad. I remember watching it as like an 11-year-old kid. I was like, "This isn't very good, is it?"
I still haven't watched that.
We watched it on Teams. We gotta have a movie night in the Discord and watch it together.
We need a movie night.
We've watched it together a few times back in the old Fast TeamSpeak. But anyway, the Dinner with Racers dudes, they very commonly like to ask drivers if they know about the main character of the 3 movie, which is the Mill. It's a reoccurring character. They call it a reoccurring character.
Reoccurring character in a movie.
Yeah,
they always ask people too, like, do you have any like not going back to the mill stories in your career, or... It's so funny.
Not going back to like whatever their parents did. It's like Joseph Newgarden's dad did like school pictures. He's like, not going back to that photography room. Like, it's a very funny joke, and I'm surprised. I can't believe it made it all the way here.
We should do a movie night.
We should
do a movie night.
JTN movie night.
A JTN watch along.
Yeah, let's do this. Let's monetize it. Let's make it channel memberships exclusive, so you have to buy a channel membership on YouTube. No. Bam!
I was gonna say we could do that. We can record our commentary and then be like, "Hey, play the movie along at home." And we can Mystery Science Theater 3000 this bitch.
You guys joke about that. I listened to a podcast that did exactly that with the MVP movies, those most valuable primate movies.
Oh my god.
With like the monkey that like I think he skateboards in the first one and then he plays hockey in the second one.
The monkey? I'm not There's a monkey one of those? I only know about Airbud.
No, it's MVP. It's most valuable primate.
I just got a great idea. Okay, so one of my favorite podcasts, Beef Boys, does a thing every Halloween where they do a table reading of a terrible fan fiction. So like the first year they did My Immortal, which is the infamous Harry Potter emo fan fiction. It's hysterical. We need to find a NASCAR fan fiction and we'll table read it.
Okay.
At the end of every episode.
Okay. I'm down.
I'm so down.
I'm about to be done with school. I'm going to have so much free time. I'm down.
That sounds dreadful. I love
like
it.
Every episode we read like 2 chapters.
Oh my god.
So down.
I hate it. Let's do it.
Let's go to next weekend because we're going to be in Las Vegas where a lot of these things would be thought of and probably would not be said out loud because what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Shut up. Oh my god.
So trucks are back.
They are.
Second race of the season. Kyle Busch is in this one. Ross Chastain's in this one. I don't really have anything else. It's Friday night. I think it's like a 10:30 start because it's always a late start for that race.
John Hunter Nemechek's running as well.
Kaz Grala's running too.
Jake Garcia's
running. Who else? I bet you Zane
Josh
Smith.
Riem,
I bet you Zane
Matt
Smith
Mills.
is running.
Chase Purdy. Just go down the whole list.
I just have a real thing for anyone that was wondering. Remember how Matt was being like all snarky about me watching the Red Wings? The Red Wings are now losing 5-2.
Yikes!
So they were up 2-1 when we
no.
started this podcast.
That cannot be good.
It is not. So truck picks. Who you got, Matt?
Who do I got?
Oh heavens!
That's a good question.
Do we want to just say no picking Cup drivers for the trucks to make it more fun?
Yeah, we should probably do that.
Okay. Because look, so folks at home, you're not going to see this, but I redid our show sheet because 1 point of contempt. I don't know.
Words. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who cares?
1 point of arguments that we've had is about me keeping track of our race picks. But now I have an easy way to keep track of our race picks.
We have a sheet. Of course, we do it the week after I picked Kyle Busch to win. So
Yeah, well, nobody wants to give you credit.
yeah, I'm gonna go with Haley Deegan. I'm feeling crazy. So
Okay. Davey.
I'm going with Truck Series team owner Kyle Busch.
All right, not Cup Series driver Kyle Busch, Truck Series owner Kyle Busch.
That's right.
Okay, all right.
that's a pretty big loophole. We're gonna have to work on that.
I'm gonna take Zane Smith.
I don't know. You guys missed a trick with that one. I don't know.
Yep.
I'll tell you.
Xfinity hopes to run before Cup this weekend. Race on Saturday. Kyle Busch is in this one. Tyler Reddick's in this one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have that entry list out in front of me. Those are the only two I know off the top of my head. I'm going to pick first here since I went last time. I'm going to take Josh Berry.
I don't know who Mason Maggio is, but I'm tempted to pick him.
Well,
He's
Davey
driving
gets to pick
66.
next. So hope
I don't
Davey
know.
doesn't pick the 66.
Mason Maggio, he seems pretty cool. He sounds like he makes a mean lasagna, but I got to go
does.
Parker Kligerman.
All right,
Oh,
I'm gonna
that's
go-
right.
I'm gonna take Sheldon Creed.
Oh, Davey, I erased your name. Whoops.
What the hell?
There we go. It's back. And you're going to go Sheldon Creed. All right, Cup Series. Davey, you pick first.
Okay. Damn. Oh, jeez, man. I don't
This
know.
one doesn't
Oh,
even change.
jeez.
How are you taking longer on this pick? They're the same drivers, except for the 15. Are you thinking about taking the 15?
I don't know.
Thinking about picking JJ Yeley?
It's Vegas, baby. It's Vegas, baby. Ryan Preece. That's not an informed pick. I
didn't know Booty Barker was Booty Barker the third.
Yeah.
There's 3 Booty Barkers.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
there's at least 2.
I'm taking Ross Chastain before you even pick, so.
I'm gonna take Truex because he almost won here last year. So
And then IndyCar is back. First race of the year this weekend,
Oh, yeah.
guys. Believe it or not. We can either talk about this a little bit here if we want, or we can just make race picks because I didn't even realize that IndyCar was starting because the promotion is just so good.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything about IndyCar starting. This is legitimately the first I've heard of
St.
it.
Pete, right? Because I have St. Pete on our show sheet.
I follow so unbelievably many IndyCar, media people, drivers, teams. I have had zero indication on social media of any kind that IndyCar is starting up this weekend.
It's on NBC.
What
It's
the
on
hell?
Peacock at 12 p.m.
That
on
is
IndyCar
dreadful.
Radio, Sirius XM.
quick tangent. So I'm on the IndyCar website right now looking at the oh my god, I forgot Stingray Robb is a real person and he's running IndyCar. I don't know what lens they use to take pictures of all the drivers, but it looks weird. I don't know how to explain it. Like the focal length is
It
too
is weird.
long, and all of their faces look extremely weird. Everybody except Sato looks really weird.
They look so weird. Oh
It
my
is really weird.
Why?
Something's just off.
They look like a character list in it. Like this is like a Wikipedia page for like a video game, and all the characters are listed. Why does Scott Dixon look horrifying?
Roman Grosjean has no eyebrows. What the heck?
Scott Dixon is.
He's like, yeah,
I don't know
extremely
if I can say what he is.
overexposed. Yeah.
All right. Well, who you got winning this weekend?
Oh, good heavens! Scott McLaughlin.
Oh, there we go. All right. Oh.
I'm really tempted to go. Yeah, screw it. I'm going with Stingray Rob. Best name in motorsports.
I don't know what car number.
He drives for Dale Coyne, so probably
Dale
the
Coyne.
18.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. Didn't know that was a person.
I don't believe he's a real person. But
honestly,
he's on
thought
the
that was a
entry
joke.
list, so.
Really thought that was a joke.
Oh no! Oh, he's in the 51 too. It's my number. Okay.
It's
Destiny.
Driver.
This dude's name is Stingray. Why?
His name is literally Stingray Rob.
Bro, his racing heroes here in Senna. What an
He's
L.
from Boise.
I'm gonna take Joseph Newgarden. I'm assuming Will Power's in the 1 this year too, right? Like, is Penske doing that? I assume
No, he's running the 12. It looks like.
What?
Yeah. Well, maybe, I don't know.
Roger.
Wikipedia says he's running the 12.
Stingray Bob says his favorite places to visit. He said Belgium was awesome, but I gotta say my favorite places are in the Idaho mountains.
Wow.
Is this who you want to stand behind, Matt?
At least, hey.
How can you visit the place you're from? It's not visiting if you already live there, Stingray.
Listen, at least it's not. Yeah, Power's still listed as 12 on the Penske website. What the heck? I thought they would do the Champions one. Sad.
I don't know.
That's sad. Now I'm sad.
IndyCar.
Yeah.
IndyCar really sat there, had the best racing for like a few seasons in a row, and they're just gonna slap a big wet fart at the end of this era.
You know what the worst part about IndyCar is? Roger Penske is so much smarter than this.
I was wondering what you were gonna say.
We stood here. There were a lot of options, weren't there? I've stood here and I've talked about how, like, hey, you gotta give them time. You know, they're not doing that bad of a job. The whole NBC Peacock deal isn't that bad. Holy crap, though, you still have to promote the stuff. You can't just sit there and be like, oh, it promotes itself. It doesn't.
Yeah. You know, now that I think about it, because I've watched every single Supercross race, and those are all on Peacock, and there's not been a single IndyCar commercial the entire time.
Nope.
That's crazy.
I don't recall any IndyCar commercials during the NASCAR races this past weekend, which, again, great cross-pollination. And guess what? Your race starts 3.5 hours before the NASCAR one does, so guess what? People will be able to watch.
I mean, similar. I watch a lot of soccer on NBC Sports and Peacock. Nothing. Not a single mention. You would think you'd kind of be able to maybe like glean a little bit of the F1 crowd that likes European soccer because it's kind of there's a little bit of crossover there. Nothing at all. Again, I have had zero idea IndyCar is racing this weekend.
So frustrating.
So weird, yeah.
Can't wait for that Detroit Grand Prix around downtown Detroit instead of on Belle Isle.
Maybe they just don't want to bring it up. Maybe that's why they're not promoting it. It's like, oh, damn, the Belle Isle thing. Ugh. Let's just not talk about it.
Let's just not talk about this season at all.
We're embarrassed, yeah.
Maybe people won't even tune in for the Indy 500 this year.
I'm just saying, a name like Stingray Rob markets itself. So
that does.
You
know, the Indy. God, you know what? I'm not going to go into an IndyCar thing. I'm not going to do it. It's not worth it.
Indy 500 pays all their bills for the year, and it's crazy that they are okay with that.
It's the best and worst thing for IndyCar racing ever.
Yeah.
It is the best and the worst at the same time. It's the only reason it keeps IndyCar afloat, but they know that.
That's the bad thing. They know that.
That's the problem is they know that.
Yeah.
God bless it. Anyways, I think that's the show for this week. I think we can wrap this one up in a little bow, folks. We got all of our social media links down in the video description below. As always, we cannot thank you enough for watching, listening, doing all those things that you do. It's a big thank yous, big help. You know, we're racing. Davey's racing. He'll be streaming sometimes on his Twitch. Really wish he would stream more when he's racing. because he's really funny when he's racing and he has some really good insights. Yes.
Oh man, maybe that should be my thing. Maybe I should be that guy.
Yep, there you go. So we got both. We got everyone's social media links down in the video description below. Remember, you can follow us at Johto Network or at Fake Racers on Twitter, at Johto Network on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. We're gonna do a better job of posting stuff this week. I lost power last Wednesday night, so I didn't get a chance to clip the show from last week. Although looking back at it, I didn't really find anything too crazy. I think tonight we got a couple good little moments here. I'll convene with the boyos, but yeah, I don't have much else. Where can they find stuff about you guys at?
Twitter Davey Hazard, Instagram D7H5, and Twitch D7H5 with an ER at the end. You know, the honest reason that I don't stream more is I'm always in Discord and I always stream to them. So I need to to race more on my own. I need to stream that way. Honestly, that's what I got to do. I just got to race more. I got to not hop on Discord, instead do an iRacing race and stream it to Twitch for funsies. And that's actually a good idea about the little racing insights thing. I don't know how, I don't know how helpful I actually am, but that's cool to hear. I would like to. That is something that I would like to explore. It's something that I enjoy. So I appreciate that.
So, backstory for folks out there: Davey did a really good job couple seasons ago over at USRL with NR stuff, but help Steven a lot. I don't know how much you've been helping Noah here.
I think a lot of the stuff with Noah and Darren, it's not necessarily that even with Steven, I'm not necessarily helping them, but I'm kind of guiding them in the right direction, because they already had all the stuff they needed to be competitive. Darren was always fast. Noah is an incredibly smart driver, and so he always listens when I give a tip or a bit of advice, and same with Steven for the most part. But it's really, it's rewarding to help them, because they are, like I said, they already have it. They have it in there. And Noah's been rattling off great races. Darren has been very fast. It's really cool to see, to have a small, tiny hand I'm not trying to take all the credit. I'm not. I'm just the guy that knows stuff sometimes.
But to the point of streaming and stuff, Davey does some more streaming. Maybe he's a little more vocal about what he's seeing and what he's thinking about while racing. You'll be able to glean some stuff from that. Matthew does some really cool art.
Matthew does do cool art.
I don't know.
But he won't tell us where you can get that art because he doesn't feel comfortable doing that. But
that's okay.
That's okay.
That's okay.
That's
Joe, you specifically said no.
Exactly. That's why I said it's okay. It's okay that you won't tell us.
Also, sponsor us, Circle. I finally actually gave it a real, genuine try. This stuff rocks. This is cool. Just saying. Sponsor us.
Honestly, anyone wants to sponsor us.
Since we can't get the damn chocolate,
the Husky chocolate people, where are we on that?
Yeah, update on that. I get marketing emails for their clothing, but they still don't sell outside of Sweden and Norway. So
yeah, that pisses me off.
Yeah.
I feel like they don't exist. I feel like that you can't even.
They're
buy
a front. They're a front.
Ponzi scheme.
100%.
It's the new DC Solar. Yeah.
It's like chocolate milk, right? It's like protein.
It's like muscle milk. Have you ever?
Yeah.
It's like
a protein drink. Yeah.
So why didn't Marcus Ericsson drink that after he won last year?
I don't know.
I guess you probably
because they wouldn't send it to America. That's why.
Well, it's probably a thing because they have a whole deal with the Indiana dairy farmers for that. So that's probably what it was. But opportunity missed.
Shout out to Colleague Racing. I will absolutely shamelessly plug Colleague Racing because they're a cool place. Got this for free. And have you guys ever used one of these?
Our buddy Joey Fulford works there.
Yeah. Matt, have you heard that story? I don't want to go on a huge tangent at the end of the podcast. I have. Screw it, I'll tell it. Who cares? Joe, you can cut it out if you want. Bye, everybody. Care. And then also...
no, we're keeping it.
Okay, cool. So Joey and Tommy were at Colleague for some fan event last year or something like that. And they were, whatever. There's booth set up and there's a little sim rig thing. That's NASCAR heat with a Logitech steering wheel or whatever. Whatever wheel, right? It's a little sim booth thing. And the person who was running it left while Joey was doing it. And so when Joey got done, there were people in line. So Joey just started running the sim booth for like 30 minutes. And Tommy was just standing there like I want, like, we can go. We don't have to do this. And Joey was like, I was called upon. I had to help. And Tommy was like, no, you didn't. You did not. And Joey was a calling employee for like half an hour, and he still hasn't got his check. So
get on that, Colin. Come on.
Very, very funny.
You guys
story.
were cool.
You know how you can make it up to Joey? By sponsoring us here on the Fake Racers podcast.
Getting us in touch with Circles people.
Or Celsius people.
Or definitely Celsius. Get Celsius people.
Yeah.
Matthew, where can people find out more stuff from you?
Adam Steelman51 on Twitter, and that's about it. So
I love it.
You can see me, my tweet today that popped off about people not understanding the ending of Avatar: The Last Airbender. So if that sounds interesting to you, go check that out.
It sounds very interesting to me. I'll go check it out.
Yeah.
I feel like you don't do a lot of racing stuff outside of this podcast. Is that correct?
Just been busy.
No, I know. I just...
It's like what I said last week.
It's just fun to make fun of you guys, you know?
It's nice not having opinions on everything.
I mean, I do a lot of racing stuff, and I don't like. I have opinions, but like, not everyone needs to know them all the time.
Nah, shout them from the rooftop.
I would be posting more of my BMX stuff, except I've only gotten to race twice this year because it's either been raining, or I've been gone, or I've been sick this year. So I haven't raced in over a month because of that.
Yeah.
3 Horsemen of the Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Again, guys, can't thank you enough for watching this week. Hope you have a fantastic rest of your week. Hope you enjoy all the racing this weekend. F1's also back in Bahrain this week. We're not talking about that because I don't care, and I don't think it does well enough numbers for the audience that you guys are, because you rock, and F1 stinks a lot of the time. Anyways, folks, thanks for watching. Can't wait to see you next week. Hope you tune back in. Hopefully that last comment wasn't too off-putting, and we'll see you guys next week on the next episode of the Fake Racers podcast.
Even if it was off-putting, you're already at the end of the show, so it sucks to suck.